Hey guys, we're back here at West China Tea. We've got Chris from 10th Mountain. We're going to be looking at some more tea and some more whiskey, and Sohan brought something special that you might have seen spoiled in a previous episode. What do you got there, Sohan?
Corey brought this actually.
Corey
brought this from his from the barrel of whiskey that he is holding onto for us while we move the whole tea house and don't need a big barrel to transport as well. But it's full of Manla Sheng. And it's a Sheng Pu'er, which is my favorite kind of tea. It's a green tea. It's not fermented. It's not roasted. It's very, very plain. It's basically just been cooked and sun-dried. It's been cooked in a wok traditionally, and then sun-dried.
Okay.
And Sohan sent it with me because he knew I wouldn't drink it.
Yeah, because he hates Sheng Pu'er. He doesn't like green tea, which this is. So yeah, I knew he wouldn't be like dipping into it. Yeah, he wouldn't be dipping into it.
It seems to me it's more held hostage.
Well, and people do put tea into whiskey barrels. That has been done, right? Many a time it has been done, but they're usually using dark tea.
Yeah.
Right, they're usually using dark tea, and I get why, because they may want it to stand up to the taste of the whiskey, and they think it'll complement. But my intuition was like, I want to use Sheng Pu'er, because Sheng Pu'er, it's like I wanted to pair this one with our rye course because I love rye, and I always think of Sheng as being like the rye of tea. You know, there's something about Sheng Pu'er. I've said this on the show before. There's something about Sheng Pu'er and rye whiskey that there's a resonance there with me. So this is it. It looks just like shitty weed, but it's not. It looks like you got this. You got ripped off by somebody in like the parking lot of high school.
Someone tried to sell you some oregano.
But exactly. But what it really is really good tea that's been stored in a whiskey barrel in a Ziploc bag that unfortunately does have a smell, but I think it's going to be okay because as I've learned throughout my life, the Ziploc bag smell goes away.
It's almost a little tobacco-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whiskey barrel makes tea tobacco-y.
Okay.
That's like it makes it whiskey-y and it makes it tobacco-y. Yeah, that is what whiskey barrels do, the tea. In my experience, I've had a couple whiskey barrel aged teas in my time, but this has only been in for about a month, says Corey, and about a month. So this has not had that long to get juicy and barrel-y. Not too much barrel impact yet, maybe, compared. And also, like, that would be a cool name for a distillery. Barrel impact. All right, so let's go ahead and use some of this.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, me too.
What type of whiskey was in the barrel?
So it was actually first a single malt.
Ooh.
And then it was
Texas single malt.
Yeah, Texas single malt, and then it was bourbon in the barrel.
Fun.
Yeah, so there were a couple of different things. I think that was
cool.
a third steeping of
It was
that barrel.
Balcones to start, and then Crowded
Cool.
Barrel,
Yeah.
and then something else.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
All right, here's a little rinse for y'all's cups. Give it to that fish over here. Give it to this toad. Get a nice rinse your cup. Get that red tea taste out of there. And then I don't know. Is this canted enough for you, Corey? Can you see this?
What?
Zoom,
See these leaves?
Cool. So this is our first tasting of this. We tasted it previously as the green tea. Now this is our first sample with the barrel impact.
Right. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Now it's warmed up a little bit.
There are a lot of places that are doing coffee in barrels as well.
Huh.
So that's
Yeah,
another.
I've been seeing a lot of that lately.
Yeah.
Yo, but what if you then go back and you put whiskey in the
back
coffee
in the
barrel?
coffee barrel.
Or, I mean, a tea barrel. How about that?
I'm in on
put
that.
tea in a barrel and let it hang out for a couple of years and then go make some more whiskey in it.
Well, we might have some connections that might give us some new make that goes back into your tea barrel to see what kind of aging we can get out of that. Even though we've got this big giant hole in the top of the tea barrel.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, put that part facing up.
Facing up, yeah.
I mean, how else are you supposed to get it out, you know?
Any way you can. There's actually, in whiskey barrels, if they're standing on their head, you can actually drill two holes.
There we go.
one to the top and one towards the bottom, and the barrel will leak out on you. They've got these tiny little divots that they put back in those holes.
The first one's good, actually. I'm gonna serve the first steeping, even though we don't usually serve the first steeping. We usually pour it out, but I'm gonna serve it. It's good. It's real good. I smell it. I smell the barrel. It's light.
I was gonna say, like I get some barrel impact on that nose.
It's light.
More than I
Yeah,
expected.
It's light. It's light. Shit. You know, honestly, I don't think we need to do this right this second. But next time we do this, we need to side by side it with the unbarreled Manala Sheng.
That'd
Same.
be cool.
Yeah. It's very light still. I think it's going to be more impactful doing it down the line, but that's how we're going to like really see what the barrel impact is. It's there though. You want to smell it, Corey?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I'll taste it in a minute.
I do still smell the Ziploc bag a little bit, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately. It's my fault. I said Ziploc bag. I said Ziploc bag. I was trying to make it easy. Like, what's good? I'm sorry.
It's not the smell. It's the chi. It's the
Yeah, the chi of the
bag
Ziploc bag.
chi.
Man,
The bag chi.
the microplastics, the millions and millions of particles of
The
microplastics. Yeah.
forever chemicals.
Yeah, but it's good. Ooh. Okay, so that's weak. That's the rinse. That's the first steeping, right? Oh man, yeah. I definitely smell the barrel. It's definitely there. It's definitely there. I'm gonna do a. Go ahead and do a little bit longer steep here.
Beautiful. The traffic noise is a little bit hypnotic.
Yeah, isn't it?
It's like a waterfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Houston. That's like bird song from.
I was about to say you can't sleep without it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The occasional siren every, like 20, 30 minutes.
When we first started doing,
Actual gunshots.
when we first started doing this in the fall, it was actually dark out because the time change hadn't happened. So now we're getting different episodes with different lighting levels.
Yes, I was wondering how that.
Ooh, that is very earthy.
Yeah, I was gonna say. It might be psychosomatic, but I feel like there is like a barrel impact, or like I'm getting a dry, woody.
I get it. I get it. And that's the character of the tea. These Sheng Pu'ers, it is a type of green tea, but it gets treated like its own thing, just like Scotch is like everyone knows about Scotch, and Scotch gets treated like Scotch. It's kind of got this special association with it. And it is this regional style. Like it's only from Yunnan. It can't be from anywhere else.
Okay.
And it's from these particular trees. And these trees got bigger leaves. They're like old ancestral plants, primitive plants, right? Primitive tea plants. And they have very vegetal taste. There's not a lot to say about the taste of Sheng Pu'er. It's very tea-tasting tea. Yeah. And a lot of those like woody tannic notes are in line with what you can get from Sheng. It usually ends up being darker, more oxidized and darker than a normal green tea, a small leaf green tea, because the drying process, they dry it in the sun. It's sun dried, like we talked about the last tea was sun dried also, the red tea. This is also sun dried green tea, essentially is what it is. And so it's also sun dried, and so in that slow sun drying process, it oxidizes some. And so it's definitely different than like when you drink a Longjing or one of these Eastern Chinese green teas or a Japanese green tea or something. And that's why we kind of set it apart and give it its own like category. But where the barrel impact for me is this muskiness, like a musky.
I'm getting a forest floor, lots of moss, like wet moss.
It's a deep low note. It's a low note.
Yeah.
I'm pleased that it doesn't smell like alcohol, because I have had whiskey barrel aged teas that smelled like alcohol, which is cool. I'm not mad about it, but it's like a hyper niche novelty. It's not something I'm just going to make.
Yes.
I would like to get those like those oaky notes, those different notes from the wood and from the whiskey, just not the actual. I don't know how it even works out that way, but it definitely like smelled like as though there was actual alcohol in it.
Yeah.
It's a little more like Pacific Northwest.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
like very much that. Like it's definitely wet, like rainforest, like Northwest rainforest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's fun.
There you go, Corey. Try some steeping 3 over here. Finish that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and
Pour
pair
up
it with some whiskey.
Let's do it. We'll do the regular release of our rye. Our rye is actually our most awarded whiskey, which is pretty cool.
Word.
Was just double gold up at New York International Spirits Competition. We were voted best overall rye distillery in
Hell
Colorado.
yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, man, super excited about that. So, and also this is a little bit lower proof. This one is than the bourbon was. This is 86 proof, and then I also brought a 100 proof version that is a little older.
Can you show me that bottle right quick for me? if you don't mind?
Absolutely.
So 10th Mountain, you've got the soldier on there.
Yes.
Is it a cultural appropriation? What do the people from 10th Mountain think about you using their logo and taking over their spirit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I was saying, the 10th Mountain Division was formed up in Colorado. Now they're actually based in Fort Drum, New York, to this day. But we wanted to pay homage to those guys because they're a piece of history of that part of Colorado that we're in, around Vail and Gypsum.
Right. And it's the Army? It's Army?
It's Army, correct.
Okay.
Yep. They are just some really great guys. Well, Ryan, our CEO, they found the symbol that is the 10th Mountain. They call it the Walking Man. There's actually a statue. From our tasting room in Vail, across the covered bridge, you can see the statue of the Walking Man sitting there and holding his skis and his rifle. It's really, really a cool statue. But we use this. It was not trademarked or anything, so we trademarked it. And there's a little bit of fear in that, right? Like, what's the U.S. military going to do? It's not like they have weapons. But we do that, and I believe it was one of the generals came to the distillery, and kind of was seeing it and visiting, and came in and said, saw Ryan, and he was like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a minute?" And takes him outside. He's like, "Hey, I just want you to know that you have our blessing. We really appreciate what you're doing for the 10th Mountain Division and the attention you're bringing to this story and the pieces of history that the 10th Mountain has done." I forgot to say this rye I got on this subject. It's a 69% rye.
Hey.
Nice. It's so it's a little lower rye than like your typical 95.5s, and this one also has 27% blue corn.
Hey,
Okay,
right.
So that we
all
use,
the homies.
Yeah, all the homies
yeah.
are together
Right.
again.
Any particular type of rye?
This is I do not know off the top of my head,
Okay.
truthfully, but it's same rye we use for our bourbon mash bill, and still all of our grains except our single malt obviously is 4% barley, malted
Very
barley.
floral.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to compare this to the 100 proof.
And I think I was saying it in the last filming that we just did, but rye and Sheng, for me, like, I love rye whiskey and I love Sheng Pu'er. It's my favorite kind of tea. It's like, my favorite type of tea. And it would not be wrong to say that rye is my favorite kind of whiskey. It definitely has a very special place in my heart. And so, but the thing that I like about them is similar.
Yes.
And I can't say what that is.
Yes.
But whatever it is, it's like planty,
Yeah.
and green. And I know there's this whole trope about rye whiskey being in green bottles or whatever, but there's a reason for that.
Right.
I believe that there's a metaphysical reason for that. And
Yeah, there is a vegetal quality. There's a floral quality in here as well. That's really fun.
that's the other thing is Sheng Pu'ers have a floral note too.
Yep. I was gonna say there's even though there's all these like interesting floral, like we talked about, like forest ground, rainforest ground type notes to the tea. All paired alongside this, it brought a brightness in each one, like not like in a shiny brittle way, but just like it lit up almost.
Yeah.
And I do get that out of some ryes where it's like that hard candy sweetness that you get on the front. A lot of times in cocktails they'll do a rock and rye, which is essentially hard rock candy.
Oh God.
In the rye, and so
I hate that. I'm sorry. I hate that.
But this doesn't have that brittle candy sweetness.
Wait,
to it.
they dissolve the candy in the
Yes,
rye?
they do, yeah.
Wait, wow, you just
It's a
casually
very
slip
old-
that in. Wait, really?
Very old cocktail.
It's just rye and sugar?
Yeah.
That's it? Is
rock
there
and
nothing
rye.
else?
Nothing else.
Nothing else. Yep.
I mean, I guess whatever, but that's also, did you just casually do Rothschilds make whiskey?
Oh, the Rothschilds make wine.
Okay.
That was in the previous episode.
Right, yeah. I was like, I was like, at what point did the Rothschilds start making whiskey? Is this a conspiracy theory?
Of course.
But
We'll be hunted down for all of this because the Illuminati are after
Yeah.
us next.
yeah.
Now, the 10th Mountain is doing some really good stuff because not only did you get this partnership, you're giving back.
Yes.
And
Yes.
let us know a little bit of how 10th Mountain gives back.
Absolutely. So it's really cool. That was one of the big missions. Ryan and our now director Brian are very, very philanthropic people in general. They wanted to give back a lot to the veteran community and to deal with a lot of different veteran nonprofit organizations. That's actually how Ryan and Brian met. Brian has a nonprofit called Base Camp 40, and what that is, he's a trained guide for hunting and survival, and he takes Gold Star families as well as veterans and things like that deal with PTSD or whatever out hunting across the world. All over, whether it's South Africa or in Colorado, to do guided hunts and give them a chance to connect with nature and it be a really cool thing. But we also give back, even on the back of our bottles. I don't know if you guys saw this, but our TTB labels have some of the organizations, like Vail Veterans Project is one close to our heart because they're close to home. Wounded Warrior Project, to name a couple. Then also Camp Hope out of Missouri. They do some really amazing things for veterans that have dealt with PTSD and things like that. So there's quite a few. You can actually, our website has the complete list of organizations we give back to. Plus, we'll donate barrels to different divisions and things like that. Or we've done a partnership with a nonprofit in the past where basically we donated the barrel and then whatever profits were made all went to that. All went to that nonprofit, and it was just they sold it out into their community and raised funds that way, and then the only cost was just whatever it cost us to make the thing, and we didn't take anything from it, and we do that pretty regularly. We are big fans of we believe that we are a philanthropic company first and a whiskey company second.
Cool.
We make great quality products, but on top of it, it's better.
So they were both in the nonprofit sector first, and they met doing nonprofit stuff, and that's how they.
Ryan just had a big heart for nonprofits and giving back. Like that's very much his style. He's a generous person who wants to.
And that's how they met, was through that nonprofit interest, that interested in nonprofits benefiting veterans.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
They were at an event.
Are they veterans or?
Brian is a veteran. Ryan is just from that area. He's actually a Texas boy, which is great. We bond over that. He lived in Houston.
Oh, wow.
And I give him a hard time about going to SMU, but
I'm afraid of going down to the last of this without trying that single barrel.
I was about to say, let's pull out the single.
Yeah. Here, let me. I want to take a second for this pairing though, because I like this a lot. This is this pairing is like way up my alley. I also don't want to finish it without, but here you go. You're gonna get some Sheng in here. Here, let's get Corey some whiskey so he can.
I was about to say.
Try give him one of these guys.
Got it.
We'll do another one here.
It's like I don't remember setting it down there. It's gone.
Yeah, this is fun.
Booze for you. You're very welcome.
So a lot of times with ryes, you get things like peppermint, spearmint. You can sometimes get like green vegetal, like jalapenos. I'm not really getting any of those in this.
Yeah, no, and I think beside the tea, it's like bringing out this sweetness, this more the corn impact to me.
Ooh, I love it. I love it this order. I'm going to try it the way you do it, with the tea first and then the whiskey. But try it like that. Try it with the whiskey, then the tea, and see. Do you have any whiskey left?
I have whiskey, yes.
Okay, here's some of this. Try the whiskey, then the tea, and I'll try the tea, then the whiskey. I really like this pairing because I like these two things so much. I feel like this particular matchup really nails on the head like this rye sheng moiety that I'm kind of talking about. So I'll try, okay, tea first, and then the whiskey. Wow, that's good too. You get stuff both ways, and they're different.
It's like
You get stuff. You're right. It's sweet. It makes the whiskey sweet, like really sweet.
Yeah.
In a way that it definitely was not sweet before.
Totally agree.
And then let me try the other way again.
I was gonna say I get like I don't want to influence on the weight.
I don't know how to describe it, but it's that green thing that's the
Yes.
rye and sheng thing.
Yes.
It's just like raw, like it comes through and it's bright, like you were
Yes.
saying. It's this like bright, shiny thing. Cool. Also, I want to touch on something real quick for anyone who's watching this, who's familiar with me and my like platforms, etc., and thinks that doing stuff involved with or being in homage to U.S. military is off-brand. War and the military notwithstanding, helping families is on brand.
Yeah.
Right? That's on brand, 100% without a doubt on brand. I don't care
Yeah.
what caused those families to be aggrieved. It wasn't the people who are aggrieved's fault.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's I just want to put that out there because I have my own different platforms and I'm very vocal about different feelings about things, but 100%
Yeah.
without a doubt, helping families and helping aggrieved people who lost loved ones is 100% on brand, and I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
And for me, people in power are the ones pulling the strings.
That's right.
Everyone
Yes.
else
Everyone else gets
is
stepped on.
Yeah.
We're all getting stepped on together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see if that single barrel has any difference from.
Oh yeah, save some of this juice for single barrel.
Yep.
This is fun. This is actually our 10-year anniversary. This is the oldest release we've ever done. Whereas this is a 2-year. It's a blend of 2 and 3 year. I think there is some 5-year in there. This is a 5-year-old barrel. And you can see it in the color already. It's also, the other one was 86 proof, like I said. This one is 100.
So 10-year anniversary, 5-year-old whiskey.
Yep.
You said 100 proof?
100 proof. We partnered with Rob Dietrich from Blackened Whiskey, formerly of Stranahan's, and he was a part of this. He was actually a 10th Mountain veteran.
Ooh.
So,
Whoa, this is the same thing but older?
Yeah, older.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
By how many years? Sorry.
This would be 3 years older.
3 years old. So 5 and 2.
5 and 2. Yep.
So we just had the 2, and this is 5. Wow.
Wow.
It's really different.
It's pretty crazy.
That's cool.
This is, to me, I get in this. There's like a bright ginger note. And then you go into this, and it's almost like it's ginger snap cookies.
It's really complex. It's almost like, oh my gosh, it's really nice. It's very striking. It's got the difference is very striking in this, the character of this.
Yes. Yes.
It's almost like mushroomy, like a savory, kind of rich, earthy character. And you can see the color too. The color is obviously way, way, way different.
That is
There's
something
much more red and darkness in that.
Something that Daniel Whittington mentioned, the differences between a younger whiskey and an older whiskey. The younger whiskey, you're picking out like small flavors, like it's vanilla, it's candy, but going from like light ginger to ginger snap cookies, that's an entire product.
So I'm
It's a journey.
gonna think about that when I drink this. Ooh, same proof?
This is 100. This is 86.
That's right.
So
Similar.
a little more similar. We use a combination pot column still. So you get a lot of the oiliness still, and that's what I think, in my opinion, would help such a lower proof whiskey like that to have a lot of character. And then when you get to crank up the proof a little bit,
It's mellow though. The mellowness of the age offsets the proof difference to where they almost taste like they're the same proof because of the way that the barrel's balancing out the spiciness of the alcohol. It's very nice. It's very it's very elegant. It's very
Demure.
demure. Yeah, it's demure.
Oh boy.
The profile. Okay, here's what I want to say. The profile is a little bit abbreviated, where it's like it says something, and it says it really concisely, and then it's not just like a bunch of other, extraneous stuff going
Yes.
on. It's just very. It's a very tight profile. It's very like rounded and very shapely profile. It's nice. It feels very well
It's like the
crafted.
first edit, and this is like the final edit.
I feel like those 3 years contributed a lot to that whiskey, though.
Yes, it's fun. You know, I brought this up earlier. With the climate up there, you get a lot of barrel impact in a short amount of time.
Right,
it's
right,
really
right.
fun when I take away the impression of age, because age is such a thing in whiskey, and people get stuck on that. I'm a believer that age impacts it, and there is something to that.
Yeah.
Like that's fact. But that doesn't mean that a younger whiskey is less quality than an 18-year-old or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I always say I'm not an age queen. That's what I say.
Yeah,
I'm not chasing these vintages, and because that's in tea, people get like that. You know, this is also an industry where people get obsessed with age and are hunting those old vintages, and it's very, very hard to verify those older ones with tea because honestly, like you have to be a freaking detective to figure it out. You know
I'm sure.
because the old ones they didn't print the date on. Now they print the date on them. They didn't used to print the date on them. You go back
wild.
before the '90s, they weren't printing the dates, so you just gotta.
Wow.
You're like analyzing the type of paper being used, the type of ink being used, the type of stamp being used
Oh
to
my
stamp it on.
gosh.
Like the technology, as technology advances, and you start getting different printing technologies on the paper. That's what they're doing to analyze these, unless it's been stored in one house the whole time.
You can do that with tax stamps in spirits
Mm-hmm.
because those have changed and evolved over time.
Yep.
And the type of labels are going to also change over time when they've been rebranded or try to update their logos and stuff like that. You're going to be able to look at that on bottles. But yeah, this is so much deeper.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it obviously in the color.
Yeah.
Oh
Very,
man,
very
I get like cinnamon apples.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very Christmassy, very wintry. Obviously not like cinnamon apple whiskey or something like that.
Yeah,
Because when people say notes like that, I'm like, I don't know, but it's not some like bullshit. It's nice.
Yeah. It's not like it's almost like a baked apple in the way that you get the sweetness coming forward from the apple, and it makes me think like a Fuji apple is the direction that this one goes, sprinkled with like cinnamon sugar.
right.
That's where my mind goes with it. It's like it's got to be a sweeter apple. There's a little bit of tartness there, but it's there's
You
more
did-
depth.
You did say ginger, and it is a complete baked good pastry with
Yeah.
like apples and
Baked
cinnamon,
good, yes.
cloves.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's some really dark spices
Yeah.
going on in
and,
there.
and it's still rye.
Yeah.
And it's rye at
Yes.
the same time, which is those are not the things that I think of when I
Nope.
think of rye, but it's really nice with it, and it's really cool seeing the evolution because it really the bones are there in that first one,
Yes.
and then you can still feel them there in this one, but
Yes.
there's all of this flesh on those bones.
Yes. Like it's fun. Also, I went
So appley.
Yeah, it
I
is.
went back and forth with the tea, and it was
Yeah.
and I literally had to like stop for a second when I went from whiskey to tea. Just it awakened like this like deep peppery note.
Oh yeah, like a
Yeah.
green peppercorn.
Yes.
It's really good. It makes me want to drink a lot of it.
Yeah.
It makes me want to. I want like a big cup of each of these things.
Yes.
It definitely is very, very delicious.
Wow. And that
Yeah.
pastry just keeps
Dang.
on. Yeah.
Yes.
If you ever want to do tea and whiskey pairings at your bar, let me know.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll make it out. Where in East Texas?
Tyler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
You know the number one request I get for people wanting me to open a tea house in another city is Dallas Fort Worth.
Really?
Yeah. That's the number one most requested place.
I believe
And like
that.
I'm from Houston, and we don't get as many requests for Houston.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So maybe one day we'll make a tea house out there. But yeah, this is really cool. These have been all really good pairings. But these two ryes with this Sheng Pu'er is really killer.
Yeah.
And I'm awesome.
Wow, this is so much fun. And the side-by-sides, not just with the whiskey, but also with the tea, has been fantastic. And we thank you, Chris, for bringing these here with us today. so that we can try this. And we are thankful that your company is supporting good works. And where can we find you on the internet if we were hunting you down?
10thwhiskey.com, 10th whiskey with an E.com, and 10th Mountain, but just MTN whiskey on most social media platforms. So,
Cool.
like
And yeah, all kinds of good spirits today. And Sohan,
Yes.
the tea was perfect. And let's see how this evolves over time, because that barrel is going to turn into something delicious.
Yes, thanks, Corey, for bringing the tea in the barrel, and thank you, Chris. Pleasure.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers.
This tea